following is a presentation of Foundry Broadcasting. It's Football Friday night in Southeast Georgia. Southeast Bulloch Yellow Jackets football is on the air on 106.5 The Borough, WMCD.
To the 10, to the 5, touchdown, SEB.
High school football coverage is brought to you by BBWH Insurers, Brantley's Marine and Gun, Bulloch County Farm Bureau Insurance, Family Eye Care of Georgia, by Odici Technical College, Yates Astro Pest Control.
Here's an out long down the far sideline, and it is caught for a touchdown, SEB.
You're listening to exclusive coverage of Southeast Bulloch High School football on 106.5 The Borough, WMCD.
Good Thursday evening, Jacket fans. Here from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro, Georgia, as we get set for the 2023 Southeast Bulloch football season coming up starting tomorrow night. The scrimmage over at South Effingham, and they get it started a week from Friday against the Liberty County Panthers down in Liberty County. A full hour, maybe a little bit more for Southeast Bulloch football coming up here from Wild Wing Cafe. Appreciate everybody here at Wild Wing coming out to support Southeast Bulloch as we get kicked off here in just less than right around 24 hours. Colin Lacey alongside head coach Jared Zito, and this is the best time of year to get things going football-wise.
Absolutely. Everybody's undefeated, unscored upon. Everybody's super excited for football to finally be back. High school football under the lights on Friday night, there's nothing like it, especially in this state and in this region. I think we're all excited to finally get an opportunity to play someone different and see what 2023 holds for the Yellow Jackets.
Last year we talked about it a lot, making the move up from 3A to 4A. What's the biggest thing that you and this team learned about what 4A football is right now?
Well, number one, it's very competitive, well coached. It's got more depth. You're playing people that rotate guys in and out a lot more frequently than at 3A level. But certainly the teams we play are the Wayne counties and the Burke counties, and of course Benedictine. They're a whole lot different than what we saw the previous season.
What excites you most seeing this offseason from this team going into 2023?
I feel like our guys are bought in more. They believe in our program. They seem to be more invested. They seem to care a lot more. We got a really good core group of seniors and juniors and a few sophomores. Of course, we started 4 freshmen last year. So just a really good core group of good kids that seem to be trying to do everything right, and they really are highly competitive, and they want to win, and that's the big thing. They want to see success on the field.
You talked about it, and you and I have touched on it a lot over the last year or so. You guys played a lot of really young kids, freshmen, sophomores a year ago, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and we'll talk to Coach Anthony a little bit later on in this hour. But what does that do for this year's team, having those guys have had sometimes 10 games of experience?
I'll tell you what, you can see we saw a huge difference in the spring and then through the summer, and then right now through the first couple weeks of preseason. Those guys were 9th graders that are starting on Chase Douglas, Colby Smith. They already act like veterans. They play different, they move different. You can see that their mannerisms, everything they're doing on the field, the game slows down for those guys. And we knew we were going to take the bumps with them last year. I mean, I would apologize to them after each game, because to put a 9th grader on the field in that region was tough. They're both really good football players. They're hard-nosed kids, but that's a lot to ask them for a 14, 15-year-old young man. But we're really reaping the benefits now, and they're really playing well.
2-8 record last year, and we're not going to dwell on that a lot tonight. One of the things that you did this spring and summer in the off-season workouts, having T-shirts with the question mark on the front. Take us through that story.
Well, yeah, we kind of had to rebuild everything again. I mean, year one was fantastic. It was great. I felt like maybe that year 2 team, for lots of reasons, we kind of got away from some of our philosophy and things that we needed to be doing. So we kind of I decided to start over and made the guys realize that we're going to start from the beginning. And the question mark really was, what are we going to do? We were in 4A, we're in this new region, and we've heard all this and I'm a big, we can complain a little bit, but at some point we got to have solutions. And the question mark is, who are we going to be? What's your role going to be on the team? And what are you going to do about it? You have from basically January until now to make some decisions. And so on the back of this shirt it said 4A is bigger, faster, and stronger. Are you? And every day we wore those shirts in the weight room. That was a requirement, part of our fourth block weights. And I wanted to remind them of the reason why we're lifting weights. You can only control what you can control. One of the things we can control is our work ethic, our attitude. We got to get stronger. We had to get tougher. We had to get a little grittier. And that just that whole process, I felt like that was the path for us to have success in this region and in this class.
You and I have touched on it a couple of times this preseason of one of the things that you really wanted to get to was more of the strength conditioning, more of the toughness, more of that gritty effort. How have you seen that really grow this offseason?
Well, I tell you what, they in terms of their work ethic and what they put in every day in the weight room, we certainly have paid the price for success. They came every day with a great attitude. They worked really hard. The data in terms of what we were accomplishing in our goals and our maxes, you could see our kids getting stronger, starting to look the part a little bit better. And I think with that comes confidence, not only in themselves but in us as a team. And we kind of talked about, what is the path for success? What can we do? One of the things we can do is we can be strong, we can be disciplined, we can be tough, we can be gritty, and that's something that I think Southeast Bulloch has kind of always rested on in the past with success they've had, is being a team that is physical and tough, and we kind of had to go back in time a little bit.
Every year you've been here, again, this year, third year, about to start in 2023 with Southeast Bulloch, but you've had a saying or a mantra for this team every year. 2021, it was RTG, Return to Glory. It seemed to work. First win in the state playoffs since 1973 with the 42-16 victory against Long County. Last year was Raise the Bar 22. This year, you've gone to Rise to the Challenge. What went into that?
Well, I mean, we knew we were going to have to rise to raise the bar last year, and we certainly, attempted. But I think the biggest thing for players, probably parents and fans, and maybe some coaches, is now we weren't really sure what we were getting into. Until you play a full schedule and you really see what the competition looks like and the coaching. Well, now we all know. And so there's we're stepping into the unknown. We know what it looks like. It is bigger, faster, stronger. It is more well coached, and so we have to rise to that challenge. We can't just continue to say, well, we're just Southeast Bulloch or we're the smallest 4A program in the state. We are who we are. We're going to continue to grow, but we got good players too, and we can either make excuses or we can rise to the challenge, and that's kind of where that slogan came from.
One thing you've done a really good job, and you and your staff have done a really good job of over the last year plus, recruiting from within Southeast Bulloch. And what I mean is getting guys that are basketball guys to come and play football. You've had a number of those, especially DBs, wideouts, come over. What goes into that, and what does that look like when you're, I don't want to say recruiting, but you're going into your own school and trying to find the best athletes?
Sure. I think at any school, certainly the smaller schools in terms of population, if your best athletes, girls or boys, aren't playing multiple sports, I think at the end of the day your overall athletic program is going to suffer. And we know in today's world we've gotten more and more specialized, and I think you can get away with that at the 5A, 6A level, 7A level, because the school is so big. There are so many athletes that can just play one sport. At Southeast Bulloch, we have good athletes. But they've all girls and boys need to be playing multiple sports, at least two sports, and we've got several that really could play three. And one of those guys is Zach Wells. He's a guy that came off the basketball court and really phenomenal basketball player around the rim. Got a chance to watch him last year. Super competitive. He used to play football, and I had him in weight training class and talked him into it. Wasn't, again, kind of like a Colin Smith story. Wasn't real sure he would stick to it, because I knew his first love seemed to be basketball. And I'll tell you what, he did not miss a single day in the spring or the summer, no matter what was going on in basketball. And finally one day I said to him, Zach, really thought maybe you'd be more into the basketball thing this summer, and you haven't really missed any days. And he told me that, Coach, once I make a commitment to doing something, I'm all in. And he's going to start at wide receiver for us, and he's going to potentially help us in the secondary and then maybe a little bit in the return game.
You a basketball fan?
I am for him. No, I am a basketball fan. We've got several guys that do play and have played. I enjoy going to our games. My own son plays basketball, and he's a ninth grader on our team. He also runs track. So if guys can move on the basketball court, it shows their athleticism. I also like to watch their competitiveness and how they take coaching. You can really see it on the basketball court because you're right there on top of the court.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the ancillary things around the program that a lot of people don't see. You've been extremely complimentary of the leadership from Southeast Bulloch with Dr. Julie Mizell as principal, Mark Oliver, who got to give a shout out, Region AD of the year in 22 and 23. Having that leadership, what does it mean to this program?
Well, at the end of the day, a head football coach cannot operate and do his job unless he has got a great relationship with his principal, the head of the school, and the athletic director, and the entire administration. And there's so many, war stories out there struggles between head coaches and administration. And at the end of the day, it's her school and it's Mark's athletic department, and the three of us have got to work together. But it's only going to go as far as those two want it to go. Both of them are big advocates, not only for football, but for athletics. And they're very competitive. Those that know Dr. Mizell know she likes to win, but she also knows that there's a price for that. Meaning, there's certain things that have to be put in place, and we have a great relationship, and I'm certainly appreciative of that. And without those two, and even our upper level leadership in our county, from Superintendent Wilson all the way down, Board of Ed, if athletics is not important to those groups across our district, then all our coaches wouldn't have success.
We've talked a lot about, ever since you got back to Southeast Bulloch, really reinvigorating Coach Fred Shaver back into the program. What have you learned from Coach Shaver over the 3 years you've been in Brooklet? I
know he loves Southeast Bulloch. More than anybody I ever met. The whole school, the community, all sports, girls and boys. One of the first things he told me, he said, when your toes touch Brooklet, you'll never want to leave. That's what he told me a long time ago. From a football standpoint, it's funny. He's, obviously a legend, and every time we talk, he says, Coach, blocking and tackling. If you work on blocking and tackling, the rest of it will take care of itself.
Plenty more coming up here from Wild Wing Cafe. A full night of Southeast Bulloch football coming up here from Wild Wing. We'll catch up with a couple of assistant coaches, a couple of players as well, and finish up with head coach Jared Zito before we get out of here tonight. You're listening to Southeast Bulloch football right here on 106.5 The Borough.